Happy Friday, everybody. It is champion review time.
Mm-hmm.
We got the Banana Lady and Fuckmo.
Banana Lady and Fuckmo, I like it.
Soraka
Wait, is Soraka
Kuno.
the real Moon Knight, though? Is that the real question?
Possibly.
She got the staff. But, yeah, we're in for an interesting one with some champions that don't have too many changes. But,
Looking at you, Teemo.
yeah, Teemo. No one likes you anyways, dude. But yeah, I guess, well, let's start with last week. We had our poll up. Our poll was, if you remember playing original Scion, or pre-rework Scion, whatever you want to call it, pretty split. Half you guys said yes, half you guys said no, so that's pretty fun.
Yeah, I seriously don't remember playing him.
I think I played him once or twice in like an ARAM, and I had no idea what to do because his kit was all over the place.
Right.
As we showed, it was totally all over the place. It didn't matter what you built. You could build anything, and that champion had some way to scale it. It was pretty gross. But I'm glad they changed him. He really needed it because he was useless towards the end of his original life.
Yeah.
And the new Scion is far more interesting, playable in every single way.
And our question from last week was, what would you do to rework Sivir? Gungnir wrote in and said, make Ricochet her passive and give her some kind of movement ability. I'm assuming as in like a dash, not her ult, because her ult is technically a movement ability. The Ricochet is interesting. It sounds kind of on par what Riot would do, where they would take a passive or like an ability and move it somewhere else. You know, the Patrick Star treatment.
That's what we're gonna call it, dude.
Yeah,
Just
exactly.
Patrick Star,
we're gonna coin that.
Everything.
I mean, that's interesting. I think what was I can't even remember what her passive is now.
Sivir's passive is move speed.
Oh, it just gives her basic movement speed.
Yeah, we talked about it. I don't remember exactly what it was.
See, I already fucking forgot.
Basically, Gungnir is saying, "Hey, let's take these two, let's swap them because the Ricochet makes more sense as an innate ability for her." And I agree. The move speed is more of just like a basic ability that other champions may have something similar to, but nobody else has like a Ricochet style.
Yeah, maybe so her passive does. Obviously, I think they'd have to tone the damage down. I don't know what the damage is, but it'd have to be.
She only gets 3 hits on the Ricochet. It's not that much.
Well, so then, what are you suggesting? I was thinking like all her auto attacks bounce like that.
Oh, okay.
I don't know how they would do it otherwise.
I was thinking it would be more like a Hail of Blades type of effect. Like you attack and then you trigger it or whatever. And then within, I don't know, 4 seconds, all of your attacks or whatever, some period of time, all your attacks would ricochet. That's at least the way I thought of it when I first read this.
Could be like, I like that. Like, if it was every 10 seconds, Sivir's next 3 auto attacks, ricochet, hitting an enemy champion reduces the cooldown of this passive. I could see that.
Yeah.
Maybe her W grants her a burst of movement speed and that attack speed steroid from her ult.
Okay.
I think that would be kind of cool. I mean, I think that's that'd be way better than what she has.
Dude, she sucks right now. Like, I hate seeing her because she's just a caster now. And, like, that champion was never supposed to be a caster style. She's supposed to be an auto attacker. And the fact that she's not tells you there's something wrong.
I feel like they need to buff. Just give her, like, more attack speed bonus. Or, I don't know. Something that's gonna, like, incentivize building attack speed or crit or something.
Right.
Because
Boomerang
otherwise
blade should not be her bread and butter.
Boomerang just gonna one shot you with Dust Blade. So
yeah, it's fucking stupid. It just turns her into like a Kaisa bot, right? Like the AP Kaisa, it's the same thing.
Right.
Like, yeah, okay, you can have some attacks, but like you're just trying to throw out your Boomerang blade and hit a proc on the what is the name of that stupid rune? Dark Harvest. That's the name of it.
Yep.
And that's all she tries to do. So, Gungnir, thank you. I do like that suggestion. I'd be curious to know exactly what you would want to do with that. But so if you want to, you can actually go back. I think you can go back and re-reply to your original post, and I'll keep an eye out for it too. Or comment on Instagram. I know you follow us on Instagram and everything as well. So, thank you again.
All right, so let's get this party started. Soraka.
Goat
Now,
lady.
compared to okay, is she okay? Obviously, she's got hooves,
Oh, she
but
definitely has
she
hooves.
but she has a horn. So is she a unicorn? She's a goat.
Oh, that's a good question. That's a great question.
Well, she's a celestial, right? Like she's
I
some
think
kind
so.
of.
She
Well,
kind of looks
anyways,
like a Navi from Avatar
mm,
with goat legs instead.
well, in comparison to Teemo, she had quite a few changes.
She did.
Of course, we're gonna go back and look at her old passive, her
Yep.
second passive. She has two different, well, three if you count the live one, but she's had
Right.
two previous versions. So let's take a look. Let's take a look at this passive.
I
Anyways,
didn't realize that she had two passives before her current one. Like, that's
as
how
in
old
like
these
they
are.
changed.
Yeah, that's how old they are. Like she
Yeah.
really hasn't changed that much. But yeah, tell me about her first one. I'm looking at it, but I tell me about it. Tell me how this
Tip,
works.
typical old school riot champion. Increase surrounding allies' magic resistance by 16, but a range of 1,000 units. That's pretty big.
So I think I know they recoded this for Locket of the Iron Solari in its current state. It is called the Consecration passive, and it does increase your magic resist, but also increase your armor as an aura.
So yeah, again, very basic. Probably, I bet they had like a hat that just had really generic, basic ass like, oh, stat boost
Yeah,
passive, and they just pulled that shit out. And Soraka landed on magic resist buff.
you're probably right because yeah, I mean the magic resist buff is kind of useless as a bot laner, but
Right.
she's an original champion, so there really wasn't roles defined like that. So I can see how it makes sense.
So let's take a look at her second incarnation of her passive, Salvation. Soraka's health and mana restoring abilities are 1% more powerful for every 2% of the target's missing health or mana. I do, minor spoilers if you guys don't remember this, but her W did used to give mana, right?
Her E,
Or her E, okay.
her E. We'll get there.
Yeah. So I couldn't remember it was one of those, but she basically
Yep.
gets a buff while healing and giving mana.
I remember this one. This was like the big one, and this really defined her play style for sure compared to her first one.
Right. And then, of course, her current passive is, let's see what it says.
Is the
Gains
ambulance?
Yeah, the Wambulance. Gains movement speed running towards nearby allies that are below 40% HP. 2,500 range. So you're
Yeah.
going to be zooming. Obviously, especially on ARAMs, you
Yep.
really feel it. You're fucking zooming. I think, I mean, as a heal bot, I think this makes the most sense.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, it's very simple, but you got to get to your homeboys,
Right.
homegirls that need that HP.
I feel like the ambulance meme about it. I don't even know what I call it a meme, but the joke calling it ambulance is actually the perfect descriptor for it, though. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, let me get there real fast. Everyone get the hell out of my way. I'm sprinting. She gets 70% bonus movement speed, which is, I don't know if you guys know, when she activates that, she's running at, I think, 500 plus units.
I mean, if you have
she's
Moby boots
fast.
on too, like
Yeah, she's very fast with that.
what they should do? They should make her unstoppable while she's doing that.
No, that
Just
would be
run through-
disgustingly broken, dude. Oh, she's basically Scion just running through everything.
So,
Yeah,
pretty
it definitely
straightforward.
is more fitting for her kit. 100%. Can't even argue that.
It's very interesting that a lot of the times when you see passives and or just abilities in general that they kind of share the same. Like these are three very different passives.
Right.
Maybe not
right.
very different. I mean, they're supportive, but
None of them do the
resist-
same thing.
exactly. And so it seemed like they're like, oh, I don't know what the fucking.
They hadn't really. I feel like they hadn't really quite defined the role. At least with the first one, and I think it's because the roles weren't necessarily existent at the time. There wasn't a meta where you have two bot laners. I mean, shit, she came out and people didn't even play jungle champions, and So that's a thing in and of itself. The jungle was way too fucking strong that you didn't have someone play the jungle position because it just made more sense to double up bot and top, which is where you got the solo mid from. That's actually where that meme comes from, is like, hey, you guys can have two people on, the side lanes. Let me have the solo lane mid. So yeah, it's rather interesting. I think that's where Ashe mid or feed came from too. So let's go down to her Q, the Star Call, which they kept the name for. You want to do her original or her
Yeah,
previous
it's
first?
the original. I just remember first thing is it was a targeted ability.
Yeah, the original was
Point and
targeted AoE ability is the best way to call it. And it shredded MR.
See, that I don't remember.
I do remember that because you could stack it if you kept casting it. Do you remember? I think Bjergsen played mid lane Soraka and did really well with it, and then it became a thing because it was a good. I wouldn't even call it good, a decent anti-tank ability. It kind of like a Black Cleaver.
So it stacked at max ranks 15% up to 10 times.
The cooldown reduction.
Or no, okay, that's what it is. Never mind. Okay, I thought again, I don't remember this that much, the passive part, but okay. So yeah, it could stack 15%.
Yeah, so
okay.
you drop it, right? All nearby enemy units in range take magic damage, and it didn't do a whole lot of magic damage. It was 40 to 140 with a 40% AP scale. But you would reduce their magic resistance by 6 and then 1% of your AP for 5 seconds. And you could stack that effect up to 10 times. So if you built no AP, you could reduce 30 MR right off the top. If you can hit... you could reduce 60 MR right off the top if you could hit it within 5 seconds. That was the hard part.
Of your AP. Yeah, you're not going to get any scaling off that.
Right. So yeah, not a huge scaling, but a little bit to help you out. I mean, like I said, it became a pretty decent tank shredding ability. And then
just fucking annoying, dude.
It was super fucking annoying because it didn't do shit to clear a wave, but like she would just keep using it on you, and then all of a sudden a jungler would come, and you'd be like, God damn it. The other thing, if it hits an enemy champion, at least one enemy champion, the cooldown gets reduced for her W by a percentage of its base cooldown after factoring in cooldown reduction. So you could get up to 15% extra CDR on the W, which is her heal. We'll get there.
That's pretty OP. I mean, again, it doesn't do that much damage, but like, holy shit, like it's so annoying.
Right. Well, think about that too. As you start shredding people and you get them down to 0, you actually start doing damage over time, right? Like if you have it at level 5, 140 damage, and if you probably have somewhere in the neighborhood of 100 AP. Yeah, I don't remember all the items, but if I had to guess, you'd be in the neighborhood of 100 to somewhere between 100 200 AP. So you could be talking about another 40 to 80 damage, which isn't a lot, but as there's no more resistances, you start doing 200 damage per Q, which is on a 2.5 second cooldown. You know what I mean? Like it starts hurting.
Yeah, it's insanely low cooldown.
And it just keeps your W cooldown really low as well. So they changed that. They said, well, this is stupid. Let's change that. And they gave us her current Star Call, which I like that they kept the name. The ability is very similar, but it is different.
So I mean, it's straightforward. It's no longer a targeted ability. It is I guess, a skill shot. It feels weird to call it a skill shot when it comes down, like straight down.
I know, right?
Or
yeah,
an
no, you think
angle.
of skill shot like Karma Q, right?
Right.
But
But
no.
I mean, obviously, it's a little bit different. Still deals damage. It slows.
Yep.
Does not shred magic resist.
No.
Gives Soraka a small heal, and as long as that, if you are able to land your Q, that will also buff your W and give an ally the same passive. It says hitting at least one enemy champion returns the Stardust towards Soraka, granting her rejuvenation for 2.5 seconds, and it heals her. And if you use your W within that 2.5 seconds, it applies rejuvenation to them. And of course, it gives you and it grants bonus movement speed.
Yes.
So
Decays, but movement speed is movement speed.
Very it's weird because they're both very, I won't say they're both utility based,
Right.
and one, let me go back to read it again.
They just have to give her a little bit of damage somewhere because she has no damage otherwise, right?
Right. Oh yeah,
So,
let's
like-
look at the damage scaling. So the damage is actually up.
It's up, but you lose it in the ratio, but it doesn't matter because she's not building. She doesn't care to build AP. She just wants to build utility items that have mana and health. She's not even going to build a tanky item. She just wants health.
Yeah, I mean they had to do that because and we can kind of bleed into her W because
Yep.
the original W did not cost health.
No.
So
didn't.
they needed something to kind of make up for that, because otherwise she'd just be throwing her W out and you'd have no HP.
It did cost a lot of mana, though. I mean,
it
at max
did.
rank, 160 mana is a fuck ton.
That
The other thing it
cooldown
did is
was-
it granted bonus armor. I don't remember that.
I don't remember that either.
So you would get the bonus MR from the passive, and then bonus armor. You get 50 to 110 plus 15% AP. Jesus fucking
That's
Christ,
so much
dude.
armor.
That's giving you at max rank a Thornmail plus or a Frozen Heart plus. A
Just
Frozen Heart and a Cloth Armor, just for
Fif-
getting healed.
50 armor at level 1 ability.
That's fucking broken.
How do you...
Holy
I don't
shit.
remember that at all. How
I
do you
don't
even
either.
beat that?
You don't. It's broken as fuck. You just play Soraka. It was a 20-second cooldown, though. I will say that's
Yeah, I was going to
pretty
say...
harsh.
So, obviously, grants heal.
Right.
Her new W doesn't heal as much.
No.
Does it? No, yeah, it got nerfed.
No.
So, but obviously it grants the rejuvenation from the Q.
Right.
That was a little bonus. And it costs health now. So that was, I mean,
Yep.
if anybody who's played Soraka, if you're spamming your W, there's so much like mana regen in the game now. So like
Right.
if you don't build at least a Warmogs or something, you're kind of fucked because you need that HP. 10%
do.
mana or 10% HP per cast can get there. I mean, if you build a straight tank or any full HP, say you have 3,000, that's 300 HP per fucking W, dude. Like, that's a lot.
That's a lot. That's a lot, too. And you can see, like, when you look at the difference, too, right? The old heal scaled off AP with a 35% AP ratio, but it had base heals of 70 to 270. Well, now it's 100 to 220, but they give you 65% AP scaling. So they're trying to tell you, build your Ardent Sensor, build your Staff of Flowing Water, and you get better heals. Or the alternative is your heals aren't quite as strong, but you'll be a little bit tankier and you'll last longer and be able to heal people. And that's when you build, like, Redemption and Warmogs. You probably even build Spirit Visage just for the passive on that item. And you become a utility off tank, more or less, if that makes sense. She's got two ways to build, really, is where I'm getting at. And it just depends on what your goal is with the champion.
All right, let's move on down to her old E, which
This
got a
is
name change. I see that.
so this is the only one that's like drastically different than before.
Right. So wow, this was kind of stacked. Go ahead and read it for me.
Yeah. So it's got an active. It's got two different actives. And when you cast it on ally champion, Soraka drains 5% of her max mana to restore mana to her target ally. Soraka cannot use infuse on herself or ally champions who do not require mana. If you use it on an enemy, she silences the target and deals magic damage instead. It's at a 10-second cooldown, a range of 725. It costs obviously 5% max mana or 50 mana depending on who you're using it on. The base numbers for the mana restoration was 20 to 100, obviously plus 5% max. And this says the maximum amount of mana restored from... I don't understand what that's saying, from Salvation. A little confused there. I'm going to skip that one.
Is that
I don't
her
think
passive?
It's important. That's her current pet.
Yeah, that's very odd.
Yeah, I don't know why they put that. That doesn't make any sense. They're going to ignore that. I think that's an error. It did deal some decent magic damage to enemies. It was 40 to 160 with a 40% AP scaling, plus 5% maximum mana. So whatever your max mana is, you could deal an extra 5% of that as damage as well. And then it would silence you from 1.5 to 2.5 seconds. Pretty gross, honestly.
Giving the ability to give your own mana away is kind of OP.
Right. It was pretty gross. I mean, it really made her an ultimate support, right? You can silence an enemy, so you can like interrupt somebody like Karthus.
Yep.
You could grant your spellcaster ally, who's, you know, if you're playing like a Lucian, or even if you had... mana was pretty expensive, I feel like, back in the day, so it was actually pretty helpful, really, for any bot champion to have a little bit of extra mana when they needed it.
I don't think there was not that much mana regen.
No, it was all mana items.
Like, yeah, yeah, exactly. Like, I think aside from, did even support items have mana regen? I can't remember that part. I just remember...
I don't think so.
The old Morella Nomicon and Athene's Unholy Grail were mana regen items. I think other than that, there was not a lot.
She was definitely...
It was flat mana.
Too. Yep. So yeah, you know, rather interesting. And then they changed it, and actually, I like the change better.
Of course.
Although I do miss the ability to give my teammate mana, because there's so many times like, fuck, I wish I could just give you some mana, because I don't feel like she runs out that... Like, her costs are high, but because, like, her W costs health, you're not spamming it as often as you might think.
Well, no, and plus you have mana flow ban. Every fucking support item grants 100, 200% mana regen, base mana regen, so you're not running out.
No. Tell me about her new E.
So it's the same thing, creates a silent zone.
It's called Equinox, too.
Yeah. I like the name is better. Equinox is better.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it makes sense.
It fits her champion better.
Right. Infuse is like, oh, I'm going to infuse mana into you or whatever, but
yeah,
makes sense. Same thing, creates a silent zone. And then if they stay on it for too long, they will get rooted, which is a new thing that they added.
Yes.
So yeah, you can catch people out. I still think silences are some of the most OP effects in the game. I don't think there's that many anymore. I can only think of a handful. Garen,
Cho'Gath, Soraka, Garen. I think
there's got to be like one more. There's not that many.
There might be one more.
Fiddlesticks.
Oh yeah, Fiddlesticks. That's right. And Cassidon's ability says silence, even though he doesn't.
It's an interrupt, right?
It's an interrupt, and it still says silence, and I think that's just like an old school
silence,
like a relic. Exactly. But even like when you cast it, it shows that there's silence, even though they're not actually silenced; they're just interrupted.
So other than they took out the ability to give your allies mana and put in a root if they stand long.
Yeah, I do like this too, because if you cast it on somebody and they stay in it, they actually take double damage. Or if you want to try to disengage, you cast it, you drop it down and try to time that 1.5 seconds so that it locks up and catches somebody. Because once it ends is when it roots. You don't have to be on it for a
Right.
certain amount of time. It's not like Victor where you have to be in the field for a certain amount of time for it to root. It's like no, when it goes away, it stops you right there. And so that does give you some counter playability with that skill. It's not easy to use, but it gives you something to try to help. So even if they're crossing over it and not getting stunned, at least they're getting silenced so they can't flash or use their gap closer for just that much longer. So yeah, I mean, I like this far better than Infuse,
All right, let's move on down to Wish.
which I don't think has changed.
One thing I'm looking, so of course you can heal anybody on the map, on your allies. The one difference I'm looking at here is prior it was able to affect untargetable allies.
Oh,
So Zonia's, I'm assuming GA, anything like that.
wow. That's pretty gross.
They took that out,
Yeah, and then a few
arguably
weeks
for a more
ago.
bullshit effect,
Yeah.
which they did more recently, right? They
Yeah, just a few weeks ago.
clears all grievous wounds.
Fucking gross. Clears all grievous wounds. Also, you get that bonus 50% healing on targets below 40% of their max health, too. So it's a pretty gross ability.
That's a big. When you can just
Global.
heal anybody across the map, like that's OP.
Right, it's literally a counter to Karthus.
Soraka is just a counter to Karthus.
She's basically the opposite of Karthus, right? Karthus does a lot of damage, AoE, and Soraka does AoE stuff. She doesn't do a whole lot of damage, and she just tries to keep you alive while he's trying to kill you. I mean, if you think about it, his little M&Ms, as they used to be called, or Skittles, whatever people wanted to call them, were basically little star calls. They don't do a whole lot of damage, but they do hit. They do give you a little bit of a benefit, and that's like your main bread and butter skill. His E is a field passive, right?
Yep.
Or not passive, but it's a AoE around field that does damage just like hers. And then his W shreds your MR. Hers heals you and used to give you armor. You could see that like they're kind of a dichotomy, the two of them. Rather interesting to think about. I've always thought of them that way too.
Man, I'm looking at the splash.
Oh, I'm looking
art
at the
too.
details on Wish. It does say untargetability does not invalidate the targeting of heal. So you can still heal untargetable champs.
Oh, okay.
Did not know that. Wish's effects can occur before the cast, or they do occur before the cast time. That's pretty gross.
Yeah, that's OP.
Yep. And Wish will apply heal effects such as Summon Airy, but it prioritizes targets based on the spawn ID, which is the order in which units were added to an ongoing game. For champions, this is the order they appear from left to right in the loading screen.
Huh.
Interesting. Never fucking knew that. That's like, you know how good of a memory you have to fucking make sure, like, if you're
Nobody's
trying to count
doing
on that.
though.
Right. That is fucking weird. Why would they leave that out? Man, okay.
But yeah, really quick before we move on, I'm just looking at the splash art. I'm showing Ryan right now. Look at the original splash art for Soraka.
Oh, it's disgusting.
Disgusting. It's so much better.
She actually looks like a Navi in the original splash art. But yeah, it's pretty gross. At least her original Chinese splash art was way better.
Yeah. What the hell?
Way better. But yeah, guys, that's Soraka.
All right. I know we're gonna get to Tyler's favorite champion in the game right after this break. All right, it's your boy. You gotta hype your boy up, okay?
Welcome back, everybody. This fucking rat bastard. He's a rat bastard, is really what he is. Teemo. Every girl who's never played this game's favorite champion, Teemo. And everybody who's actually played this game's least favorite champion, Teemo. There's not a whole lot about Teemo that's actually changed. In fact, none of his abilities have changed.
No, I mean
he had old abilities, but it doesn't explain what they were. Like there's just a bunch of pictures, but it doesn't tell us what they were. I'm assuming most of them had to be passives, maybe.
Probably.
Because I see there's a first and a second innate, and then, I mean, camouflage is his current one. Well, let's do this. Let's go over his skills as they are, and then we'll see if we can't figure out if they trace back to one of these old
Right.
abilities that it shows but doesn't explain.
All
I
right.
don't even know why they'd include it if they wouldn't explain it, but hey.
That's right for you.
So Teemo's passive, what is it? What does he do and what's it called?
It is guerrilla warfare. I hold on. I for some reason I was it called something else.
No, I
I
think it's
know they
always been
have the
called guerrilla
first
warfare.
trouble. Okay.
Camouflage, maybe. It might have been called camouflage at one point a while back before they changed it to guerrilla warfare.
So he after he stops moving for 1.5 seconds, he becomes invisible, but he can still take damage, and he's still revealed by sweepers. He is not revealed by pink words, friends.
Nope.
I
Nope.
think towers will. Well, there's no. Why would you be sitting under a tower?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, you want to get your sweeper out, and you want to sweep that motherfucker and kill him.
Yep.
I think the other thing they changed too is I don't think he always used to be able to move around in a brush.
No,
And be
that was added
invisible.
later. Yeah, that was definitely added later.
Because that's kind of bullshit. Like, you can kind of juke your way.
I didn't know that if you displace him that it shows him. That's pretty interesting.
Oh, okay, so displacement, it's not roots or anything, but if you knock him back,
Yep, knock him back, knock him up.
okay. I did not know that either. See, this is still good, even though there's not that many changes that has happened. Just understanding these small little things that could
Right.
help you. Because, everyone's gone against a fucking Teemo Smite, or excuse me, Teemo top lane Ignite.
Yep.
That's gonna fuck you in the ass.
Oh, it happens. It happens. So I didn't also know that he gets attack speed when he comes out of
Yeah.
ability against the element of surprise.
Yeah, he gets a small burst of attack speed for 5 seconds.
Yeah, it's actually pretty good. I mean, he is technically a marksman, a spellcasting marksman, right?
Mm-hmm.
What is his official class? Is he a mage? No, he's a marksman assassin. Marksman assassin. They're now calling him specialist because he doesn't fit into the neat boxes. I mean, the dude is more or less a marksman, right?
Yeah.
He just doesn't scale that hard in terms of AD and whatnot. He's more of an AP marksman. But all right, let's see. Does it have anything else under the details? Obviously, you can't turn invisible while you recall.
Yep.
Charm, flee, and taunt will force him out of stealth. If Teemo's in a brush while stealth, only taunt will break it. Okay, good to know. If Teemo triggers Element of Surprise twice in less than 3 seconds, he will only refresh the bonus attack speed's duration. It does not stack. Also good to know. Guerrilla Warfare's stealth... let me try that again. Guerrilla Warfare's stealth is special case to be interrupted whenever Teemo moves from his location by any means, whether dashing, blinking, like Flash, being displaced, or simply moving. Thus, performing actions that do not normally break stealth, which also involve movement, will cause the invisibility to break. Notably, Flash and Teleport. Teemo's in a brush. The aforementioned spells do not end the stealth so long as his exact destination is still inside the brush. So he could be in a brush and flash from one side to the other side, and nobody would know.
Now, will it show the flash animation?
Maybe you might see the particles.
Mm-hmm.
And then it also says starting teleport's channel will not break guerrilla warfare. Only the blink upon completing the channel will. So you won't come in somewhere stealthed, which that makes sense.
Makes sense. Yeah, that'd be bullshit.
Right.
So let's look at his previous abilities.
The only thing I see close to that was camouflage, and I don't see anything else that shows like that at all. Just was trying to see if I could see in there. So, yeah, tell me about his 2 previous passives.
So Eagle Eye.
Mm-hmm.
Teemo's eyes can see far into the distance, increasing his sight range.
Okay, because he's a scout. Okay, that makes sense. That actually still fits.
I'm curious how far he could look.
Yeah, I wonder if it was like an extra 100 units or 200 units or what it was.
Very, very... I mean, that's actually unique. I was going to say that's basic, but it is kind of unique.
Right. It's both. It's both basic, unique, and actually useful.
It fits, like you said, it fits his... He's a scout.
Yeah.
Let's see. Look at Trailblazer, his second passive.
With the same icon.
Yeah, that's interesting. Teemo leaves a trail as he moves. So, excuse me.
He's basically farts while he moves, dude.
Teemo leaves a trail as he moves, revealing the fog of war and granting bonus movement speed to allied champions. So you're telling me
That makes sense though.
this guy farts, and as long as his allies are sniffing it behind him, they get movement speed.
Yeah.
What is going on here?
Yeah. That's really weird. Like I get what they're going for, right? Like if you have a scout who's scouted ahead,
Farting.
right, you should be able to move faster through the area. Like if he's made sure everything's clear, and farting, so everyone knows you're there. If he's made sure everything's clear, I can understand where they're getting the bonus movement speed from, and I can understand they're saying like, hey, he is still revealing that area, even though he was just there. He's a scout. That's what they do. They see things better. So it tracks. It's just funny how they describe it because it just sounds like he's leaving a fart cloud behind.
It's like a singe cue.
It is. That's exactly what I could think of. Singe Q is obviously more of a fart cloud because it poisons you. But
Other than that, there's no other changes, and
yeah,
I mean, we all know the gist of him. Trying to see if there's anything.
I know one of the big changes obviously is in his ultimate,
Oh,
which I have a hard
right.
time calling an ultimate, and that's relatively new. It's as of let me see if I could find the
Was it when
patch
it
where
was?
they
They
changed
can't
it.
be disabled.
No, it's the fact that you can bounce them.
Oh, okay. I think that was.
You didn't used to be able to bounce them. You used to only be able to place them, and you could place multiples on top or right next to each other.
Right.
Let's see, when do they move the bouncing?
It's probably gonna be like 4 years ago. Watch.
I know, right?
Because I remember the other change.
This was patch 918.
There you go. So almost 3 years ago.
So it says mushrooms will now trigger more responsively, especially on enemies dashing through them quickly. No longer detonates against rift scuttlers who aren't in combat. Mushrooms can now bounce infinitely off each other rather than once off each other. Okay. So maybe you could bounce them once, but yeah, now you can just like, especially if you're playing ARAM, you can actually just throw mushrooms to the other side of the lane if you wanted to.
Trying to see where they removed the sweeper.
That's I think
Disabling. I mean, well, I guess that's a different
more
thing because it
recent.
disables all traps, right? It used to
Right.
disable all traps. That's bullshit. And then in combination to on ARAM specifically when they removed the True Sight, the elixir,
Yep.
and I don't know. I hate
He's still
that
pretty
shit.
useless on ARAM, honestly.
Except when you have an even more useless teammate that just sees
Right.
exactly where his trap is and then decides to walk over it.
Right. Yeah, Shaco and Teemo on ARAM are one and the same of useless champions. Like champions that just don't get to do what they normally should be able to do. And it's all because of the cannon and the super minions.
See, I'm trying to go through this and just see if there's any small things like when they a while ago, or I guess it was more recent when they did all the changes. Like they increased the blind. Did they increase the blind duration? They increased the missile speed of his Q.
Yeah. They did increase the blind duration at 11:21.
Okay.
It was 1.5 to 2.5. It went up by a half second at quarter second at each rank, I think. Because then it went to 2 to 3. So it ended up a half second later. Oh, no, it was a half second each rank. Okay. Sorry, I was misreading because there's quarter seconds in here too. And then non-champion blind durations are longer than regular blind durations, but they like almost doubled the missile speed.
Unless you're, I think the blind duration is increased by a fat margin. I think it's almost double against monsters. The blind is, I don't see it here, but if you queue a Gromp or a blue buff, the duration I believe is increased.
You see what it says in the details.
So let's see. I'm looking at the blind duration.
Yeah, it just says increased. It's yeah, you're right. It's doubled.
So yeah, you can blind if you're playing jungle Teemo. You can blind
Minions
monster
and
camps
monsters.
for like 6 seconds.
Yep, 4 to 6.
That's pretty OP.
And that it says monsters also. Does that include? I don't think that includes epic monsters
No,
though.
no, no way.
That would be
Because
broken.
they're not auto attacks. They're like fucking
Right.
they're breathing
Well,
fire and shit. But I don't know.
dragon is an auto attack, but Baron is a magic attack.
If you could blind dragon, I would fucking I don't
That'd
know
be
what I would do.
disgusting, dude. That would be actually disgusting. But probably because dragon triggers an AOE effect on. I think it always triggers an AOE effect. It's probably why it doesn't count the same.
Yeah, because it would for sure say epic monsters. But anyways,
Yep.
not that I mean, again, guys, there's not that much that's changed.
Right. Right.
Unfortunately, um,
Um. Yeah, I'm even looking at like map specific differences. Is just Earth. He can only have 12 active mushrooms at a time.
mhm.
Um. Oh, the mushroom axe is technically a pet. I didn't realize that. Okay. Which means that Omnivamp. That means that Omnivamp sucks ass on mushroom traps. So that's a
Well,
thing to note.
Omnivamp just sucks in general.
It does. It does. Um. Yeah, guys. I don't think there's really much else to talk about. Oh, there's one thing. A little piece of synergy that I don't know if anybody knows. When you're playing Cassiopeia, you can actually Twin Fang, and I think you can do this with Singed as well. But I know you can Twin Fang Teemo's poisoned enemies. So if you have a Teemo on your team and you're playing Cass, you get the extra poison benefits, and you do get to use your E and get the benefits as if Cass poisoned them.
Mm-hmm.
So that is interesting, and I think it's the same with Singe, but I don't remember if that got changed or not. Um, let's see. Oh, another thing to note about the blind is it does affect those attacks that hit as an on-hit ability, like Mystic Shot or Parlay from
Yep.
Gangplank. If you blind an Ezreal, his Mystic Shot does not hit, even if it hits. Does not count. Um, Other than that, I don't think there's much else to go on with old Teemo, man.
No, we barely talked about him. I'm already over it.
He does have a ton of skins, and I will say that Little Devil Teemo was like the best one they made. Like when I
Uh,
thought of it, like that was a genius idea.
I know. I mean, right after they made BMO, I think
Right,
BMO's a
and then
slap.
Omega Squad. I mean, they hit a few good in a row. I mean, Omega Squad was really good because that was kind of funny. Like, oh, let's turn him into like this grizzled Vietnam, but like modern era, guerrilla warfare style champion. Even though before that he was like the cute and cuddly, like the gross ass happy elf one. That's just disgusting. Um,
Ew.
and then Recon Teemo is just the poor man's Omega Squad. Astronaut's pretty good. I do like Super Teemo because of the mushrooms.
Yeah.
Um, Astronaut's cool. I don't really care for Cottontail. Obviously, BMO's really good. I don't care for Firecracker, and I don't really care for Spirit Blossom Teemo. Although it makes sense, he's cool with the rice picker hat style. I don't know what that's called. So someone please tell me what that's called. Here, what is it called? Correct myself right now. It is called an Asian conical hat. Okay, well that's. I thought it was gonna have a better name than that. So yeah, guys, what do you guys think about Teemo? Does everybody
He
hate Teemo?
suck. Okay,
I'm.
poll of the week. Do you like Teemo? Yes or no?
I think the poll of the week is: do you hate Teemo?
Do you hate
Because
Teemo?
you
Okay.
can not like him but not hate him. But like, do you hate Teemo? And I will say, the reason I hate Teemo is not because of what Teemo does. It's because of Teemo players. If they're on the enemy team, Teemo is a god. If they're on my team, they're a monkey with their tongue sticking out and a finger up their ass. I like legit. If my teammates pick Teemo, I think I actually start dodging now. It's that bad. You just lose the game. You just auto lose. But if he's on the enemy team, he's like a way better top laner than my top laner, and my top laner has no idea what to do, and they end up feeding over kills, and then he's a monster with 4 items, a demonic embrace, and a Leandries, and he's just shredding your team with mushrooms everywhere, controlling your jungle and everything. So, uh, I fucking hate Teemo.
That's gonna be it, guys. It's Friday. Fuck yes.
It is Friday. Enjoy your day.
Do we
Enjoy your
need?
weekend.
Do we
Have a
need a
good Mother's Day.
question? We need a question.
We do need a question. Do you think Teemo celebrates Mother's Day? Or
That's
does his mother just want to kill him? No, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
Just kidding. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what a good question is because these two champions are pretty basic. There's not much to talk about in terms of changes, you know?
Maybe we can just leave the question open again. Just
Yeah,
ask us
a little
anything. You know
open-ended
what?
question.
Speaking of, totally forgot that we were suggested to do that draft.
Oh,
But to be fair, we can curve it like this. We have 3 more champions to do
Yep.
with from the original set.
and then we'll do the draft on the following episode.
So yeah, Tristana, Twisted Fate, and Warwick.
Yep.
It's gonna be a long episode because all 3 of those champions have gotten decently
A
sized
shit
changes.
ton. Oh shit, that is gonna be a long ass episode. Okay.
We'll I think maybe because next week, let's say next week the patch comes out, so we'll do the
Yep.
patch notes.
Yep.
Friday we'll do those 3, and then the following week, unless something crazy fucking happens, we could do the draft.
I've got an idea.
Uh-oh.
What if we do Tristana and TF next week? We do Warwick, and then the second half will be the draft.
Okay.
And then that way we split it up, so that way we don't have a mega long episode for you guys, and you don't have to sit here and listen to us go on and on and on, and you get a little bit of a break. Because I don't like to keep you guys too long on a secondary episode for the week, you know.
Okay. Cool. That'll work. So guys, let us know, do you hate Teemo? And submit any questions. Type them out. Send them in as voice messages. We like those.
Yep.
Rate us. Follow us on Instagram. Hit the link tree. Everything's there.
Yep.
YouTube.
Yep.
We'll
Google Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, Apple Podcasts. Leave a review. We'll read it live.
I was
guys.
thinking, you mentioned live. I was thinking what if we did a live episode recording?
Like,
Kind
explain.
of like how Hotline League is. Like, they do it live. Like, say next week,
Oh, like you.
I'll be streaming it on live
and
and recording it, so it'll still
We can
come
do
out.
that.
I mean,
can do that.
Can that actually be the poll? Because I feel like it's more important. Would you
No, that's
guys
fine.
be interested in a live episode of a patch rundown or something?
or champion review? Yeah, in either episode, or probably patch rundown. Honestly,
Yeah,
any episode. Would you be interested? Would you show up?
yeah. If we gotta like enough people
Yeah,
that'd be down to come in and hang out on the stream, I think that'd
Yeah.
be fun,
you
interactive.
could even
You
you can even join the Discord.
that too.
We'll just put you on mute, obviously, but you could totally do that. Yeah, I like that idea. Okay, tell me what you guys think, or tell us what you guys think.
Guys, this episode is really fucking long, so enjoy your
Shut the
weekend,
fuck up.
and we will be back next week.
Yep. Later, y'all.